Mother speaks.
I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space, the Moon, Dark Matter, the Void, the Black Hole, Atar.
Hi, welcome to Great Mother Speaks. I'm Tammy Taylor, inner work life coach and inventor of the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck. I want to talk to you a little bit about this Virgo Libra full moon. It is a super moon occurring on the 20th. It's a build up. It's a huge build up. If you remember the new moon, Great Mother came through and she said that it was balsamic moon energy, and to kind of sit on that energy, let what needs to be downloaded, the opportunity to be downloaded for this entire lunar cycle, including this full moon, which is climatic in the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck. Great Mother is not limited or confined to human convention. And we have some very ancient traditions that say every new moon is a new seed. However, based on the astrology, the energies are shifting so that this transition into what is traditionally a new year is really more than that. It's a new phase of regrounded soul inscription on the planet. It's really that deep. Now, those of you who may not know, Great Mother is the Holy Spirit, the still small voice, our intuition, the part of us, that yin energy, that primal yin energy that is spirit, and it is soul as we know it vibrationally from this ego body. We use the Vedic astrology here with Great Mother Speaks and in the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck that uses chakras to align with that soul energy. And so that's why it is indeed a Virgo Libra moon. It's Virgo in the sidereal, in the nakshatra of Uttara Falguni, which is about relationships, which is about connecting, which is about devotion, a very devotional energy to a fault, in fact. But the Libra energy is what I want you to really be aware of at this particular time, as in the Western astrology, this ancient tradition through that astrology has to do with the seeding. I want you to get something really straight about this. And it's really important because in that new moon reading, I also said that moving forward with these readings, I'm going to be more specific with regard to your lunar sign and where it is in terms of its healing of mama drama trauma, which is a condition in which the mother projects unhealed aspects of herself onto her child, causing emotional and or physical trauma in cases where she's unable, unavailable, unwilling to heal her own MDT, because it is a cycle. Loving detachment is required, and that is my area of specialization. I am an inner life coach that works with these inner emotional issues to release the emotions of shame, blame, and guilt, which perpetuate this cycle. This is actually conditioned to and through us as we incubate in our mother's womb and as she raises us with the same type of conditioning framework of MDT. To let you know how this deck came about through my inner work, I could not sustain clientele based on my own personal story of healing MDT. I had to get in touch with Great Mother and ask for a tool to assist people coming from various backgrounds and various experiences with mama drama trauma. You want to know more about it? Look at the links below, the definitions of MDT, the telltale signs of MDT, to see whether or not you have it. But for those of you who are subscribers and that have been working with me over a period of time, you know that this emotional energy is what has to be released, because that is what is associated with the mother and how we regard our relationship with our mother, as opposed to understanding it's a soul relationship. In the soul astrology, we have just left the Cancer North Node, Capricorn South Node, and now we're in Sagittarius South Node, Gemini North Node. That means for the prior 2.5 years on a soul level, the planet has been addressing issues of our old way of developing our maternal relationships. Our maternal relationships have to do with our feelings of belonging. And specifically here, what Great Mother is speaking to us about is not only just the home or with the mother, but it has to do with, from that conditioning, that maternal conditioning, how we develop our boundaries in our relationships. And boundaries are important because they let ourselves, first and foremost, be clear about who we are, what's important to us, what's okay, what's not okay, what we like, what we don't like, so that we can communicate those things clearly to others. When we don't communicate those things clearly to others, people don't trust us, and we don't trust ourselves to make good decisions. So it's really important that those boundaries are associated with an understanding of what those original maternal relationships are about. That feeling like you belong. Now, if you don't feel like you belong, and you know that you have mama drama trauma, that's where Great Mother comes in, because it's not about the emotional connection to our birth mother that connects us to the healing process of releasing shame, blame, and guilt. It's connecting to Great Mother, the mother of all mothers, that yin energy within. So you'll see that through your Vedic sign, which is always mentioned before your Western sign, in 24 degrees in precession to it, in fact, that is where your soul is downloading information from energetically. So for example, on this full moon, energetically, we are all, through the collective consciousness, getting downloads from Virgo energy. This energy that's reorganizing, that's specifying, that's inquiring about exactly what is going on with regard to what we're committing ourselves to, what we feel is worthy of our devotion, and what we want to work towards in terms of our responsibilities, in terms of our accountability, what it is in life that is worth our being accountable for and being accountable to. And typically, for most human beings, it is in our relationships to one another. What keeps us committed, what keeps us grounded, what keeps us responsible is that we like it. It means something to us. It's not just okay, it's something that feels good. It all goes back to boundaries, feeling whether or not we belong, feeling that on a soul level we're sharing our gifts, talents, and abilities, that healing energy of Virgo, the daily life of Virgo, working that out with the 3Ds, disputes, debts, okay, and diseases, how we're balancing our health with regard to living according to this soul wisdom. This full moon is coming to a climax. And emotionally, downloading that through the filter of Libra energy is bringing us right into how we're connecting with one another. I want to let you know that as we move forward with these readings, I'm going directly to the cards, to the signs and symbols. But that doesn't mean that the specifics and the astrology is any less important. These introductions are still quite important. However, I want you to know spiral spectrum is the hippest ephemeris on the planet, according to the Western astrology. But it's very colorful, and it allows you to go through each sign, through each cycle, through each transit that occurs in a way that is understanding to you and for you. As you can see, for the year 2019, I collaborated in creating the lunar phase of the definitions, the lunar portion of the definitions. And as you see here with the definition of Virgo, and for the definition of Libra. And so these are the energies that we're working with. These are the energies that we are bringing to the fore. If you're interested in learning more about how to work with the lunar energies, check out the link below. To purchase the calendar, simply go to greatmotherspeaks.info and scroll down to where you see the cosmic calendar to get your copy for this exciting remainder of 2019. As we continue with this year, Great Mother Father God will continue to activate this emerging cycle into releasing our old structures around our mother, around nurturing, around compassion, around feeling understood and feeling cared for. There's a restructuring of how this is working. And July 2nd, the total solar eclipse, and we're going to have another eclipse at the end of the year in December. These energies are going to really nourish what you're planting during this illustrious season of Virgo Libra. It's coming to climax, and so it's not necessarily seeding an intention in terms of a wish, but it's seeding conscious awareness of what you have downloaded thus far, so that the next full moon, as we move into that Aries new moon, you can culminate your wishes in a way that is respective to what you know. Now, for your Virgo, Libra, full moon readings. Hi, Cancer, Leo, moon sign people. It just occurred to me that it's not my responsibility how clients come to me, how people that I work with come to me. It's my responsibility to be prepared when they do. And that's what is coming up for you. It's not your responsibility to make sure that you have the audience that you need to share your gifts, your talents, your abilities. You have a lot of them. You have a lot of just creative power. And it's just like that artist that has that great canvas and that great piece of art, and you know it. That's the thing about, Cancer, Leo, moon sign. You know that you have prepared a delicious meal of creative explosion and intuitive entertainment. Some of you even have that ability with that Cancer in your Vedic moon sign, your soul sign. But regardless of what your sun sign is, it's not your responsibility to pull people to you to appreciate it. That's what I'm getting for you for this Virgo Libra full moon, because it is third house energy for you, which does have to do with your immediate environs. And so on an internal level, on a yin emotional level, in terms of your beliefs and how you connect to things and the validity of your devotion based on your own internal assessment of things is compelling you to compel others to recognize what you have to offer in some way. And that may or may not be happening for you in the way that you expect it to, is what I'm picking up. And with this Uranus recently stationing in your 10th house from your moon, your 10th lunar house, we're always working from your moon sign here. That's Dharma, when we're talking about inner work, we're talking about life purpose or career, we're talking about life purpose or Dharma. In the physical Western astrology, emotional, you're talking about your career. And so you're having this experience right now that is blossoming into a new sense of purpose, and you're excited about it. This full moon is a super full moon in your third house. It's the only full moon in your third house for the year. And you may be doing some traveling around more than usual around town, or communicating with people a little bit more, correspondence and whatnot. And I'm just kind of picking that up for you. It's not your responsibility to make sure that that who needs to feed from the trough is feeding from the trough. They will come. Now, having said that, what Great Mother is saying, your internal work is, this full moon is Baba Yaga, the wild woman. This is new moon, throat chakra energy, having to do with that higher expression, that divine expression that we're talking about, that soul expression, your Dharma, why your soul incarnated through you as you, is to fulfill this. And wild woman energy is creative energy. It is the energy that enters the dark forest, the dark night of the soul, very courageously. It does so in order to heal itself and to face its demons. The demons lead us into the dark night through our fears. Our demons are our fears. And fearing that you won't be appreciated or you won't be seen for who you are is a demon that is leading you into a dark space that the angels of light will show you the light at the end of the tunnel and lead you out of it. And those angels of light do have to do with the focus on your expression, on your communication, on that creativity, that higher creativity, as opposed to that lower kind of gut chakra, lower will of trying to control people. Now, this is the inner work that Great Mother is suggesting that you do. And what's bringing this up are your fears that you have regarding feeling alone, feeling misunderstood, feeling abandoned, really, by your mother and by people who are associated with your mother or who are authority figures like your mother, maybe managers, maybe aunts, maybe other mother figures who, again, are not really appreciating where you are and what you're about. The root chakra here is telling us that this is ungrounding you. Again, that visceral, instinctual, heart below energy in ways that you don't need to be ungrounded, which is why you were led to watch this video right now, is because there's no need to be ungrounded. There's no need to be encumbered by this fear. We don't want to avoid the dance with our demons. We want to acknowledge it so that they don't need to cycle around and keep cycling until we do the dance to expend the toxic energy. Recognize what the toxic energy is, and that is trying to compel other people to recognize and appreciate you, when in actuality it's just a matter of knowing that you were already appreciated by Great Mother, Father God, and you are a divine, dearly loved child of the Great Mother Father God, who's never judged, condemned, or left alone. What's in your shadow position is that you don't realize you are already being rewarded for your gifts, your talents, and abilities. You are sharing such emotional wisdom with people in creative ways. The reason they don't recognize it is because it's so deaf. You know, it's so it's so, what do they call it? Fly. I'm telling myself, you know, my age. What do they call it? Now it's so great. I'm just gonna say, and how you're doing it. You're being so smooth about it and so fun about it. That's why they don't recognize it. But it's getting to them. You need to know that it is getting to them. What you are sharing and your gifts, your talents, abilities. I don't know what your gifts, talents, abilities are. I don't have your chart in front of me. But I do know that your Jupiter is in your 5th house. And you are either physically creating something in the world or internally. And here, since we're talking about internal creation and we're talking about Mars being in your 11th house, you are co-creating a sense of intuitive awareness with other people. And this gibbous moon, this waxing moon, is a revision of mind, of higher mind, and how, in your perspective of what this is about. This is about seeing how others influence your dharma, your life purpose. There's a co-creative process taking place right now that you're not aware of, and you are being rewarded for in ways that you can't see because you're expecting it to be from the praise from others in ways, perhaps. Now let's see what that's about for sure. Because what you want is to surrender to the process. So you are getting a sense that there is a process underway, that you are co-creating a lot of communication with others about your gifts and your talents and your abilities. For example, you might be someone who can really give a good massage, and you have been talking to someone who, doesn't believe in having massages or whatever. But because they feel safe with you, you were the first person they ever had a massage with, and maybe you're the only person they have massages with. That kind of thing, and you may not recognize that as a form of appreciation for your gifts and your talents and abilities, because maybe you are focusing on another aspect of your work and you would like them to appreciate another aspect of who you are. But really that's enough for them, and they are helping to cultivate that aspect of your Dharma, that healing aspect of your Dharma, for example. Surrendering to that process is something that you already want to do, and you are already intuiting that, yeah, that is a reward. But why I'm getting a sense of dissatisfaction is because the fear is bringing up maybe that's not enough. Maybe that's not sufficient for you to continue on this kind of path of, okay, so I'm just going to allow people to recognize me however they need to recognize me, when I have the power and I have the ability as a Cancer Leo moon to demand things. I'm just going to kind of sit back, and there's some apprehension about surrendering, even though that's what you want to do. When Dorothy falls asleep in the poppy field, she wants to fall asleep, but why? Because she is getting overwhelmed by the opium, and so you may be feeling overwhelmed by this new environment, by the toxicity of trying to compel people to see things and do things your way, and so you just wanted to kind of rest. And so that's an interpretation of the surrendering. But another interpretation of it is her surrendering to the process. Remember, the poppy field is just right outside the castle. So they are yellow brick roading it. They're dancing. They're happy. And they're almost at the castle. And then all of a sudden, the Wicked Witch of the East has all of these, of the West has all of these poppy field, poppies for them to fall asleep right before they get to their destination. And so part of the surrendering, too, as an interpretation for some of you, is that you feel that you are almost at your destination. And if you would get a little bit more appreciation, if you would get a little bit more recognition, this is that, Uranus in the 10th house, that you would have what you need. But remember, Uranus is unpredictable. It's inconsistent. And we can't dictate what it's going to do. Especially now with Mars in your 11th house, with other people involved, there's something that's being given to you that you're not recognizing. And in that scenario, what was being given to Dorothy was the rest that she needed before she continued on her journey. And she needed a rest because the symbolism in that is that Toto fell asleep too. And the lion. Toto symbolizes her intuition, and the lion symbolizes her courage. And so she needed to fall asleep and get back into that intuitive deep sleep space to regenerate her courage to move forward, as the brain, the scarecrow, and the Tin Men, her heart, are praying and asking for help from, Glinda, the Good Witch, to come and save them. And so some of you need a rest. Some of you are just saying, I'm going to take a rest from all this control that I'm trying to impose. Some of you are almost kind of at your destination of being in a place of peace about what you have to share with the world and how the world is appreciating it now. And it's kind of taxing because it's a new way, it's a new approach, and you need a rest. What's helping you with the surrendering process is the energy of Adi Shakti, which is primordial mother energy. This is the twister dream. It's second chakra energy, which is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter now is in your 5th house. And so other people are helping you, just as Dorothy had the 3. They're helping you to really reassess and realign your priorities so that you can have a new appreciation for what home means to you, what belonging means to you, what peace means to you. It's not about influencing others so much, but at this particular time, appreciating the influence that others have on your co-creative process of you creating the life that you want. Because you have, the North Node from your lunar house is in your 12th house. And that is the end of a cycle. And so you've already had this emotional cycle of using your internal intuitive space to kind of influence people. And again, there's no judgment or condemnation about it, but there is choice and there are consequences. And when we continue to live past a cycle, and remember this cycle began in November and it will go for from now about another year from now with Gemini Cancer in the North Node, a little more than a year in the Vedic with Gemini in the North Node, your 12th sidereal house from Cancer. You are letting go over this next year of this idea of influencing others. It's not an intention that you should continue carrying, because what you're releasing in the South Node is 6th house energy, and that is that having to work and create something based on your life's purpose. There's something shifting about that, and the best thing for you to do this nodal season is to allow the shifting to occur within you. Just as Dorothy allowed the Twister dream to bring the images and the symbols to her about who Miss Gulch really was. And Miss Gulch really was an incarnation of her drama mama, the mother that abandoned her. That's why she was the adoptive child of Aunt Em. And Miss Gulch was reincarnated as the Wicked Witch of the East and then the Wicked Witch of the West, who Dorothy finally destroyed. So these challenges, again, they keep recycling. And if we work with the cosmic energies, we don't have to be on this Ferris wheel of recycling. We can recognize it and say, okay, right now, the North Node in Gemini Cancer is in my 12th house. And so the old way that I used to associate what maternal love is about, which is giving me attention, and now I project that onto others giving me attention, I need to let that go because that's in my 12th house. I need to let that go, because even though that's the North Node, which is about where the soul wants to go, the soul wants to go in a direction of 12th house energy, which is letting that go. 12th house energy makes us feel isolated and alienated because it's a time of reflection upon the previous cycle. And you're reflecting on what's being released, which is 6th house energy, debts, diseases, and disputes that have been a part of your cycle as a result of the internal space that has been based on that kind of internal attitude, belief, and emotional status. What your current emotional status is, the Western astrology with the Leo moon sign and its alignment with your soul sidereal sign of Cancer, is emancipation. You are freeing yourself from that kind of prison of thought. You are taking a breath. You are realizing that you're free from that. You don't have to have a life that's based on the approval of others. That's a prison. And that you can move forward based on the intuition that you're receiving. Now, Venus is in your 8th house, your 8th lunar house right now. And so there's a beautiful rebirthing that's taking place with this ego soul alignment of emancipation. So you're freeing yourself of all of that stuff on a deep soul level. Many of you are aware of the rewards that you're receiving and the assistance that you're getting from Great Mother and the rewards from Great Father in your physical world. Your life is changing. Your life is changing a lot with regard to people that are in it, with regard to your career or how you want to use your time in sharing your gifts, talents, and abilities. Those really fundamental aspects of your life are really shifting. And the reason why you are doing this work of going through this kind of dark night, another new moon card from your throat chakra, is the third eye. You're going through this because you are releasing the illusion of assigning the responsibility of your happiness onto others. You are freeing them as well. You are emancipating others from being responsible for your happiness. And you're taking on that responsibility yourself. This is what your soul wants to do from that Cancer. And your ego is lining up with it because this is the status of your ego soul alignment. Now, how your soul wants to do this emancipation work is with the primal yin-yang energy of androgyne. We all have both. And in this particular case, this is a double yang, single yin card. Double yang, single yin card, which has to do with acting on what you have received, what you have intuitively downloaded. And the balsamic moon is the download card. That's the E in aspire. We all aspire to live in loving detachment, to free our mothers from the responsibilities of making us happy. Frees everyone else in our lives, our children, our spouses, our co-workers. It frees everyone, our co-creators, which is really where you are with this Virgo Libra full moon. That's the law of destiny and free will. That's how your soul wants to go about doing this work. It wants to fulfill that law of your destiny. MDT is our fate. We are born with that in the physical world. We're born with that experience. And the reward of this primordial father physical energy of dealing with it on a soul level is to accept the gifts that it brings. And the gift that it brings comes from the inspiration of Great Mother to remind us that we are dearly loved children of the Great Mother, Father God, who are never judged, condemned, or left alone. Sometimes we have to go to sleep, don't we, to remember that. And you have the two cards when Dorothy is asleep, the twister dream, and in the poppy field. And so you are in that internal space in earnest right now where you are really, really making that transition from fate to your destiny beyond living with mama drama trauma. You're taking responsibility for your own happiness. Your mostly likely outcome from doing this inner work of fulfilling this wild woman energy, which is different from the way you've been in the past. You're going past those fears, going past those demons, and really working through that energy so that they don't continue to cycle through. Your outcome is Durga. Very clear boundaries, very clear identity about who you are and what you are about coming into the Aries new moon. It is the Aries new moon card, boundaries, and that is our next new moon coming up. It's gut chakra, and this gut chakra energy is ruled by Mars, which rules Aries, and Mars rules Aries. Mars rules Aries and Scorpio in the Western. But when we're talking about Vedic astrology, this is what's getting me tripped up right now. With Vedic astrology, Mars rules Aries and Scorpio. And our next full moon will be in Libra Scorpio. So this transitioning, like Dorothy, from the farmhouse into Munchkin land is what you're doing. You're leaving the farmhouse and you're going into a technicolor world of where you can really get your creative on, based on the openness and the awareness that you have to experience your life from a much more emancipated place. There's no place like home, and home truly is where we are at peace within. Thank you so much for watching, sharing, and liking, but above all and most of all, remember, Great Mother loves you, and I do too.
Great Mother speaks.
I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space, the Moon, Dark Matter, the Void, the Black Hole, Hathor, Isis, Diana, Mami Ishtar, Kali, Mammy, and Mother Mary.